Welcome to the Friday Roundup, where I share what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what I'm listening to, and what's worth your time this week. This week's theme: decisions over resolutions, identity over activity. Let's dive in. Book of the Week: Atomic Habits by James Clear, rereading. Why I'm rereading it now. Because I need the reminder that transformation isn't about massive overhauls, it's about tiny, consistent identity shifts. Clear's framework is simple but profound. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Want to be a writer? Write every day. Want to be healthy? Make one healthy choice today. Want to be focused? Eliminate one distraction this week. The insight that hit me this week: you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. That's why resolutions fail. They're goals without systems. Decisions, on the other hand, create systems. They change who you are, not just what you do. Who should read this? You're tired of making resolutions that don't stick. You want to understand how small changes compound into massive results. You're ready to shift from activity-based goals to identity-based decisions. Get the book, Amazon, Atomic Habits. Here's the link: https://a.co.diowrhn 5 articles worth your time. 1. The difference between goals and systems. James Clear. Here's the link: James Clear. Calm Goals Systems. Why it's worth reading. Clear breaks down why goal setting often fails and why system building works. Goals are about the results you want. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Winners and losers have the same goals. What separates them? Systems. Key takeaway: goals are good for setting direction. Systems are best for making progress. 2. Why New Year's resolutions fail and what to do instead. Psychology. Today, here is the link: Psychology Today. Calm resolutions fail. Why it's worth reading. This article dives into the psychology of why 80% of resolutions fail by February. The pattern? People focus on outcomes, lose 20 pounds, rather than on identity, become someone who moves their body daily. Key takeaway: the most effective way to change your behavior is to focus on who you wish to become, not what you want to achieve. 3. The Power of Subtraction. Harvard Business Review. Here's the link: HBR.org, Power of Subtraction. Why it's worth reading. We're wired to add, but the most successful people and companies are masters of subtraction. This article explores why eliminating is more complicated than adding and why it's more valuable. Key takeaway: subtraction requires courage because it forces you to admit what isn't working, but it's the only way to create space for what matters. What I'm listening to. Podcast: The Tim Ferriss Show. Episode with James Clear. Episode: James Clear on atomic habits, indispensable work, and the stories we tell ourselves. Here is the link: Tim. Blog, James Clear. Why it's worth your time. Clear goes deep on the difference between motion and action, why identity-based habits stick, and how to design systems that make good behavior inevitable. It's the perfect companion to this week's content on decisions versus resolutions. Favorite quote: every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. Music: Deep Focus, playlist on Spotify. Perfect for end-of-year planning and reflection. No lyrics, just flow. Ideal for when you need to think deeply about your 5 decisions for 2026. Link: Spotify.playlist 3799DQZF1DWZKC add GRDKQ. What I'm watching. The Social Dilemma. Netflix. It's not new, but worth revisiting as we head into 2026. It's a reminder of how much of our attention is being stolen by systems designed to keep us distracted. Why it's relevant this week. If you're serious about protecting your peace and measuring momentum, not motion, you have to audit where your attention is going. Social media isn't inherently bad, but unconscious consumption is. The question: how much of your day is spent in motion, scrolling, consuming, reacting, versus momentum, creating, building, deciding? What I'm working on this week, I've been deep in decision-making mode. Specifically, finalizing my 5 decisions for 2026, identifying the 2 client relationships I'm eliminating in January, designing my calendar around peace, no meetings after 4 p.m., no Slack on weekends, creating the 30-minute planning rule system. It's not glamorous, but it's the work that creates transformation. One thing to try this weekend. The 5 decisions exercise. Take 60 minutes this weekend and answer these 5 questions. Which stage am I in, and am I willing to master it? 2. What will I eliminate before I add anything new? 3. What boundary will I set to protect my peace? 4. What identity am I releasing, and who am I becoming? 5. How will I measure momentum instead of motion? Write them down. Make them specific. Commit to them, not as resolutions, but as decisions. Gratitude. I'm grateful for everyone who engaged with this week's content on decisions versus resolutions. Your comments, questions, and vulnerability remind me why I do this work. If this roundup was helpful, share it with someone who needs it. And if you completed the 5 decisions exercise, drop a comment and let me know what you discovered. One decision, one identity shift, one transformation at a time. Grace over guilt, always. Resources mentioned: Atomic Habits by James Clear, https://a co d IWRHN5 Goals versus Systems, James Clear, Com Goals Systems, Why Resolutions Fail, Psychology Today, HBR.org Power of Subtraction, The Power of Subtraction, HBR.org Power of Subtraction, Tim Ferriss, Show, James Clear, Tim. Blog, James Clear Deep Focus Playlist, Spotify. Playlist, 3799DQ ZF1DWZKCAGRDKQ, The Social Dilemma, Netflix. See you tomorrow for The Things That I Am Thinking About.